Federal law enforcement oversight took center stage on Capitol Hill today. Representative Jasmine Crockett questioned FBI Director Kash Patel regarding current staffing timelines and department priorities. Here is how that exchange began.
Was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint. We just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through.
Don't leave before seeing the full context. Following how officials handle congressional oversight matters to every voter. Watch the raw footage right now.
Man, oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just gonna make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you—
Patel's brief response of "that's false" left a key point unaddressed. Historically, FBI directors came from law enforcement or Justice Department backgrounds. That contrast highlights a major debate over institutional experience versus new leadership. What matters more to you in an agency director, traditional experience or fresh strategy? Let us know in the comments. Watch carefully as Crockett moves directly into claims regarding pre-confirmation actions.
Bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught.
Notice the weight of what Crockett just entered into the record. Career FBI officials were reportedly targeted for removal before Patel was confirmed or held legal authority. Furthermore, she pointed out those very cases originated under the administration's own hand-picked director, exposing a direct contradiction. Ask yourself, is this genuine administrative accountability or political retribution? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Representative Crockett doesn't back down here. Watch carefully as she shifts to documented threats against lawmakers.
I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal.
What makes this exchange extraordinary is that the documents Crockett submitted carry official legal weight. They are now part of the permanent congressional record. Chairman Jim Jordan approved evidence showing how internal political votes escalated to severe threats against lawmakers' families, including a spouse forced to take extreme safety precautions at home. Does this documented evidence change how you view domestic threat priorities in federal law enforcement? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Pay close attention as Representative Crockett immediately turns her attention to resource allocation and a reported 14-year staffing timeline.
How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people, and even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody, and then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there, even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing except for trying to put on a show for the apprentice, or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? Because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem. The one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their
14 years. Crockett pointed directly to that exact same staggering figure, and the leadership refused to address it. An agency responsible for national security requires immediate operational readiness. But instead of explaining why recruitment faces a decade-long delay, the exchange shifted straight to a recitation of credentials. That isn't a minor administrative backlog. That is a massive operational question left sitting on the record. Crockett also raised something that got lost in the momentum of her delivery: the FBI redirecting its agents to assist with immigration enforcement on the streets. This is not a minor operational footnote. FBI agents are trained for counterterrorism, cybercrime, public corruption, kidnapping, and organized crime. They spend years developing case expertise and source networks in those specific areas. Redirecting specialized agents to street-level immigration operations shifts personnel away from complex, ongoing investigations. This interrupts case continuity, disrupts established informant networks, and removes specialized expertise from long-term federal cases. The communities where that FBI presence disappears do not get a replacement. They simply lose coverage. Then there is the HBCU security threat incident Crockett raised at the close of her remarks. Historically, black colleges and universities have faced a disturbing pattern of security threats in recent years. In 2022, over a dozen HBCUs received threats in a single week, and the FBI opened federal investigations. The fact that Crockett flagged a new wave of targeting the day after this hearing's events and heard nothing from the FBI's leadership about it points to something that matters beyond politics. If the agency's communications and public response infrastructure is so strained or so redirected that it cannot visibly respond to severe security threats targeting educational institutions, that is a public safety failure with real human consequences. The victory lap moment Crockett described, where Patel allegedly posted twice about a capture that parents ultimately made possible because their child had confessed online, also says something specific about what leadership looks like right now at the top of the agency. Taking public credit for an arrest that was largely resolved when a suspect's family stepped forward and repeating the claim after initial inaccuracies raises serious questions about agency communication standards, especially when running an agency whose authority rests on public trust. Jordan's closing defense focused on listing Patel's professional background: public defender, prosecutor, House Intelligence Committee staffer, Deputy Director of National Intelligence, National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense. It sounds impressive, read aloud, but credentials are not the same as institutional knowledge. Every single one of Patel's predecessors brought direct experience inside the FBI or the Justice Department before leading the agency. They knew how case management worked from the inside. They knew what a field office needs that headquarters never thinks to ask about. That institutional knowledge is not transferable from a congressional staffing role, regardless of how senior that role was. Beyond the political debate, this exchange highlights how congressional oversight hearings operate in practice. Crockett could enter documents into the record, cite specific numbers, name specific incidents, and raise specific failures. And at the end of her allotted time, Jordan simply read Patel's resume and moved on to the next speaker. No follow-up, no requirement to answer, no mechanism in that room to compel a response to any specific charge. Without required follow-up responses, the oversight process often leaves core questions unanswered. When a House hearing ends with critical questions left on the official record, the debate doesn't end on Capitol Hill, it moves straight to the American public. Did Representative Crockett raise vital concerns regarding FBI management, or did Chairman Jordan's defense highlight the right credentials for agency leadership? Drop your take in the comments below. If you value straight facts and real oversight analysis without the political spin, hit that like button and subscribe to the Politics Report. Thanks for tuning in today.